This woman was really unlucky. She originally intended to go to the hospital to treat a headache. Finally, when she was discharged from the hospital, her uterus was removed. That day, a young couple went to the hospital for a checkup because the wife often had a headache, making the husband very worried. Dr. Shaun said that headache could be caused by transient ischemic attack. If it was severe, it could cause a stroke. When the young couple heard that, they were very nervous. Stroke. Is brain ischemia so serious? Dr. Morgan said they needed a cardiac ultrasound, magnetic resonance, and testing to find out causes of the disease. After that, the patient was taken for examination. The results showed that the patient's brain didn't have any abnormal signs. But during the checkup, the patient suddenly had a seizure. Shaun ran in to check. Not good, it's a symptom of a tumor. It turned out that there were 2 tumors in the patient's bladder. Painkillers that doctors had prescribed patients resulted in the high levels of catecholamine. Its effect was similar to adrenaline, so it caused pain. Shaun discovered one of the 2 tumors growing near the uterus, and it had to be removed immediately. But there was a problem why she didn't have any symptoms before she got to the hospital. The doctor answered that before she went to the hospital, the tumor was always in a sleeping state. After going to hospital, it woke up. At that time, they had to make a choice, whether they were discharged from the hospital and waited for the tumor to return to the sleeping state, or surgically remove the tumor along with the cervix. Shaun told them that the mortality rate was 30%. Due to characteristics of this tumor, the possibility of it returning to the sleeping state was very strong. If she got the surgery, this woman wouldn't be able to become a mother, so she found it difficult to accept. So they decided to wait for luck. Maybe changing hospitals would be better. But it was not simple. Dr. Morgan said if they compared the life of the mother with the baby, the mother's life would be the first priority. She went to see Dr. Marcus. The patient should be advised to give up fertility, because saving life was more important. But Dr. Marcus thought that, if the patient wants to keep their fertility, the hospital can't intervene. Without the support of the head of department, Morgan advised the young couple. She told her husband that, do you accept to put your wife in danger by giving birth to your child? And as a wife, do you just want to be a reproductive tool? The couple was momentarily confused, and she softened a bit. She asked her husband, do you consider me as a reproductive tool? He replied, I still love you whether you can have children or not. The wife smiled wryly, but his intimate actions were gone. Then Morgan talked to her husband in private. After a while, the husband returned to meet his wife and said, I still love you, even if you can't have children. I hope you can think for yourself. With her husband's encouragement, the wife finally decided to undergo surgery. But during the surgery, Morgan said that what the husband said to his wife was that she taught him. Everyone's facial expression became complicated. Morgan was confused. Was it right or wrong due to so? The woman would lose her right to be a mother forever. At the same time, Dr. Claire struggled to save a patient's life, but she was slapped across her face by the patient's wife. Then Claire ran away to cry alone. What happened to her? Claire woke up early in the morning, and she didn't remember what happened at the previous night. Suddenly, she saw a strange man in the room. She might be too drunk to understand anything. The two pretty understood each other because they didn't talk about the past, just said goodbye and left. Coincidentally, that same morning, a patient rushed to the hospital was the guy Claire had met. It turned out that he had a traffic accident. His lungs and liver were crushed. When he was rushed to the hospital, he went into a deep coma. After the emergency, the patient was temporarily out of danger, but they were faced with two difficult choices. Because internal organs were injured, arteries were crushed. If they should use an endovascular stent graft or carry out an organ transplantation. Dr. Neal said, this is not our problem, because his wife is coming. Claire was surprised to hear that. Does he have a wife? After a while, his wife arrived to the hospital. Looking at their happy family, Claire felt very guilty. During the break, Claire saw the patient's wife sit alone in contemplation. Claire thought that she was sad because her husband's life was in danger. But no, the woman knew that he had an affair the previous night, because he said he had to go on a business trip. But the location of the accident was a city away from where he was working. Claire didn't know how to advise her. If she comforted the woman, that meant she was scolding herself. But if she supported adultery, it was unethical. What should she do? Claire decided to tell his wife everything. During routine check UPS on the patient, Claire noticed signs of obstruction in his leg. They immediately conducted surgery to suck out the blood clot, so the patient was out of danger. After the surgery, Claire decided to find the patient's wife, and told her everything clearly. She advised her to share her thought with her husband. She needed to know the truth. After talking to her husband, it seemed that she learned some truth. She angrily rushed in front of Claire. Claire was bewildered. She slapped Claire across her face that made everyone dumbfounded. Claire was upset and burst into tears. Did she do something wrong? She was also a victim. Today's movie content ended here. See you in the next video.